All right. Welcome in, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Frogs of War podcast. My name is Ryan Bennell, and alongside me is my co-host, Anthony North. We are back to talk some Horned Frog sports. We're going to get into it. We got a lot of quick news hits to cover, ranging from TCU Soccer off to a hot start, TCU volleyball season getting underway, and, of course, we're going to be talking football with a big game coming up on Friday. Game one, it's finally week one is here. We talked about it for, I don't even know, like the past 3-4 episodes, how excited we were for football. It's finally among us. Nebraska Northwestern gave us our first little taste, which we don't even need to get into. But we're also going to be talking about depth chart reactions, predictions for Friday's game, a little bit more in detail than we did when we did our season-long predictions, as well as looking around the country at some games in the Big 12, as well as non-conference games. So let's go ahead and get started with some quick news hits. Anthony, what do we got?
All right, first, we made it to week one. I can't believe it's game week.
Yeah.
I'm just like super pumped. So you're probably going to hear us just, nerding out and being super giddy on this podcast. So
yeah, I feel like a kid in a candy shop.
Yeah, for sure. So I guess first thing of news hits. So this week starts a new program on ESPN Plus called Carter Boys, a Hard Knock style behind the scenes, all access documentary series about TCU football, following them through camp and through the season. So this is super cool and something that is never would have happened in the past. And it's exciting to get this kind of access to the players and really kind of getting to know the personalities of this team on a national scale that this will be, anybody in the world will be able to access. So just incredibly cool for the program to have this opportunity to be put on the front stage here.
Yeah. Do you know, have they done any other like docuseries like this for college football programs?
I don't know about football. I think there was a Baylor basketball one.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't know that they've done a football program yet.
Yeah, because I was thinking like, man, that's really cool, like that, like one of like the first ones is TCU. So yeah, I've been super big on these kind of all access docuseries. Like the huge one is Formula One Drive to Survive. That one blew up across the country. And then a lot of people kind of started replicating it with other stuff. Like Amazon is doing an all or nothing on Premier League teams. I'm a big Arsenal fan, so they just did Arsenal. It's really cool. I'm excited to see this.
That was a good one. Yeah.
Yeah, like all these, I don't know. I just love seeing it. Like you said, you get to see their personalities. You get to see stuff that you would never see normally on TV or in print writing. And so, yeah, it's really cool. I'm excited for it. And it's crazy to think too, how we've kind of harped on in our previous era of football, access was very limited. Just all around the board, access was pretty limited. Whereas now, first year of the Sonny Dykes era, and we're already getting an all-access docuseries. Sonny's just like giving the green flag for it. I love it,
Man, shoot, I'm thinking even about like when I was in school way back in the ancient times, to even get a TCU football game on TV. Some of the games were not broadcast. They were on channels you've never heard of. You had to like get your cable company to set up like a special channel to get the Outdoor Life Network. And, to come from that to, having a full access ESPN show follow you around it's pretty cool. It's come a long way.
Yeah, that is pretty neat. I'm curious to see how exactly it's going to work, if it's going to kind of follow through the progress of the 2022 season or maybe just training camp stuff. I don't really know yet, but it'll be exciting to see. So that's on Thursday. I'll definitely be watching that when it comes out.
Yeah. And this, so we're recording this podcast Tuesday night. So Hard Knocks is probably on right now as we're recording. So maybe a feature on there right now, but former Frog Obina Eze was kind of one of the feature players. They follow the big stars, and then they follow some of the undrafted guys or rookies that are right on the fringe. And he has a very interesting story, and they did a good job following him through there. He was kind of one of the stars through the first few episodes, and I don't know if it'll be on today's episode, but the roster was released today, and he did not make the final 53 for the Lions. So disappointing there, but we'll see. He's definitely made an impact and made himself known to the NFL world and the fans. So, hopefully he gets a shot somewhere after being released.
Yeah, and a lot of times it seems like those guys that are, like big characters on the show, like Hard Knocks, they do tend to kind of stick with it. They're one of the known guys, at least within the league, maybe that could sign a spot on the roster somewhere else. So, yeah, hoping for all the best for him. But all right, yeah. So sticking with football, like we said, the week 1 depth chart was released. Anthony had an article up about it not too long ago, which we'll get more in depth on it. We'll kind of take a whole look at it, talk about it a little bit. But the main thing is, you might have noticed, is that the Frogs are expected to play all 3 quarterbacks in the season opener.
Yeah, we can't bury the lead here. I mean, we've been talking about it for all offseason about who is going to be the quarterback, and we still don't know. I guess it's great that we have these 3 guys that everybody has confidence in, and everybody's expressing, it. Maybe there's a little bit of gamesmanship here. Maybe it's still trying to, play things tight, and maybe truly there are 3 different packages that the 3 guys are going to run. I mean, officially on the depth chart, it's Duggan or Chandler Morris as the starter, and Sam Jackson is third. But Dykes has made it clear that he intends to play all 3 of the guys. So I have no idea how this is going to shake out. And, it is a little bit scary going on the road to a Power 5 team and kind of testing out 3 quarterbacks. But
yeah, that's what I was kind of thinking too. Like, I totally understand in maybe like a tight QB battle. Like, say if it was just Morris and Duggan, kind of totally understand playing both of them week 1, even though maybe, like you said, Power 5 opponent on the road, little dicey. But I don't think I've ever heard of a Power 5 college football team playing 3 quarterbacks intentionally in one game. So, I have faith in it, though. I trust him. Whatever he's thinking, I trust it'll pan out. I bet, like you said, they're probably going to have very different packages for the 3 quarterbacks in that one, especially just to keep Colorado on their toes defensively. But, yeah, I don't know what to think. I don't know if this is – I saw one tweet. I forgot who it was, but it was like, if you have 2 quarterbacks, you have none. If you have 3 quarterbacks, you have 5. That's Einstein's theory or something like that. Like, so I don't know. Hopefully this will be the best way to determine who comes out of it, but I don't know how to feel. I'm kind of at a loss for words for it,
Well, it's a little bit anticlimactic. I think we have been expecting this, like, big Twitter video reveal with like QB1.
Yeah, which that's gonna be sick if they do that.
So I mean, those are always super cool, and it's been fun to see those from around the country. But we didn't get that, and we're going to continue to get this this co-starter situation.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to see on Friday. But I think either way, I'm still feeling pretty good about the Frogs this weekend. But of course, we'll get.
If it doesn't work out, it'll be a huge talking point. If it does work out, it'll be a huge talking point. This is, the quarterback position is obviously going to be super important to the success of the team through the season. So, we'll just have to see how it turns out.
Yeah. I mean, hey, it's a win-win for us. The lead is already there. It's already written. We win with 3 quarterbacks or we lose with 3 quarterbacks. Like,
there you go.
That's the lead right there. But all right. Yeah. So moving on now, we'll get more in depth on the depth chart, no pun intended, in just a little bit. But to continue some of the quick news hits, TCU Soccer off to a very hot start. Not so surprising. They tied their first match, but it was against a good team, good Wisconsin team, but now they've just had 3 absolutely beautiful wins, including a 7-0 domination against Santa Clara. And if you don't know, Santa Clara was a Final Four team last season.
Yeah, so they won the national championship in 2020. They Final Four 2021, into the 22 season in the top 5. And the Frogs put up 7 goals on them. 7-0.
Yeah, 7. Like, that's even better because, like the meme in soccer is the Germany-Brazil, 7-1 from that. It's better than that. Like, what? So, this is I'm happy. This is going to be a great team again this year. They found it. Whatever that little slow start offensively was in the first game, they fixed it. They figured it out.
Yeah, I mean this team is on fire. I mean, yeah, that first game against Wisconsin was TCU had all of the momentum, all of the scoring chances, and they were dominating possession and on the front foot, earning a bunch of corners and all of that, and just couldn't get one past, and then picked up a red card that was questionable about just after halftime. So, even to come out of that one with a 0-0 draw down a player for half the game, was still an okay result. And through a half against Minnesota, we're down 1-0 and was looking like, okay, hey, when's this going to happen? And then it did.
And then it did again.
And then it did again. And kind of back to back right in like the last 10 minutes of the game. So, and they haven't slowed down since.
It was 2 goals within 90 seconds of each other.
Yeah, and then the 7-0 win was just watching that game was just freaking out. It was ridiculous. And then followed it up with an away win at UT Rio Grande Valley, which is not a top team or anything, but won that one 5-0 also. So they've given up 1 goal over 4 games. 14-1 is their goal differential through 4 games. So very impressive stuff so far.
Yeah, and I also thought it was wild because Santa Clara, like we said, national champions 2020, Final Four last year. They started the season 1-1 and they fell out of the rankings in the United Soccer Coaches Poll, which is mind blowing. Because if you pay attention to soccer, that's not how it works. You lose 1 game, you don't just instantly drop. It's like college basketball. If you lose 1 game, you're not just going to fall out of the top 25. So even though they weren't technically in like the main poll top 25,
it's a top program.
This is a top program. Like they're still a top 10 team, or should have been ranked at top 10, but not so much anymore after getting stomped by the Frogs, baby. All right. Anyway, though, some newcomers to watch. Speaking of just TCU soccer, that really shined in that Santa Clara game and have been looking fantastic all season already. Is 2 in particular is Seven Castaigne and Tyler Iskrig. They are going to be beasts. Eric Bell has done such a good job of recruiting over the past few years. It's nuts. I mean, for this to be their 4th game and for them to contribute as much as they've contributed already, create chances left and right, it's phenomenal. Like we saw it last year with Cameron Lancaster. As soon as she came in, she had a spark, created chances left and right, was just an Energizer bunny running around. And it's like, yes, you love to see that. And it's great. It's great additions to the team. So
the depth on this team is insane. I mean, every substitution that comes on is a star contributor. Like you said, these true freshmen coming in, they're, first through 4th ever college games for TCU, and they're already superstars contributing in a huge way. So yeah, the depth of bringing back so much talent. Messiah Bright will talk about, Gracie Bryan, Cam Lancaster, and then adding these freshmen that are just incredible talents. I mean, watching Tyler Iskrig on these set pieces and corner kicks. I mean, that first goal against Minnesota, she kicked from the corner. It was technically given, I think, actually to Seven Castaigne as the goal scorer, but I think it should have been the winner. It was a curler. And she did that another time in the Santa Clara game. And she had one in, I think it was the UTRGV game that was from the set piece outside the box, and it hit the post, but it was incredible. So if she's stepping up to a set piece, get your popcorn ready. It's going to be exciting.
Yeah, already it seems like she's kind of becoming the set piece specialist, so already that's phenomenal.
Yeah, I mean, she's still coming off the bench, so she's not starting, but she's playing a lot. And every opportunity when she's in the game and it's a corner or a set piece, she's stepping up to take it.
Yeah, love to see that. And speaking of stars, not so much a rookie freshman, but Messiah Bright, again in the UTRGV game, scoring a hat trick for the second time of her career, making her now the first ever Horned Frog to score multiple hat tricks for TCU Soccer. So that is a really cool achievement. And looking ahead this week, TCU Soccer's got USC on the road on Thursday, as well as another big one. I'm loving these big games at Garvey Rosenthal. Man, this schedule this year is great.
They set up a crazy schedule. Yes.
Yeah, this is awesome. And so last but not least is Duke at home. That's Sunday, right?
Sunday night. Get to Garvey Rosenthal. $1 tickets, y'all. You have no excuse. $1 tickets, $1 sodas. Get to the game. I'm not trying to shill for TCU here, but it's the best ticket in town. You've got a top 5 matchup.
What else are you going to do with $1?
Come on.
Yeah, it's a great time. It's a great atmosphere. But yeah, so just overall, based on what we've seen in the first couple weeks of the season, this is a tournament team. Like, bottom line, this is a tournament team. TCU Soccer looks really good. They're not dropping off anytime soon.
Yeah, I mean, I think you have to say they're set up for a third straight trip to the Sweet 16. I mean, this team is clearly at that level. That has to be the minimum goal for a team with this much talent.
Yeah, they definitely want that Final Four. They definitely want to get there, to make the College Cup. So, but like I said, I think that the Sweet 16, although not to put like high standards or pressure, but I mean, realistically,
they have to know that that's the standard. I mean, they've set that standard for the program, and they have to know that that's the expectation that they've come in with for this season.
Yeah. All right. And
living up to it so far.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And last but not least, on just some overall TCU news, TCU volleyball started their season not too long ago. Drew had a season preview up on the site a while back, and not as much of a hot start as TCU Soccer. They got 2 games and 2 losses under their new coach so far. So,
I mean, they set themselves up with hosting this kind of big time tournament, Big 10, Big 12 showdown to kick off the season, and yeah, it ended up being 2 top 5 teams that came into Shawmire, and it was going to be a challenge for the Frogs, and they fought pretty hard, but it's you're coming up against, I don't know, maybe defending national champion, I think Wisconsin and Minnesota are both top 5 teams, and that's a tough place to start your new era as a new head coach with 2 top 5 squads coming up against you. But I think better days ahead, certainly for that program.
Yeah, you always got to give a little bit of time cushion. You can't jump to conclusions or anything, especially against 2 top 5 teams with a new regime. So yeah, we'll definitely be on the lookout for improvements along the season, and we'll touch on it every now and then on the site and on the podcast probably. So, all right, now we're on to the big juicy part, and that is football, what we've all been waiting for. And I'm going to do a little bit of technology right here, and if you're watching this on YouTube, this portion will make more sense. But of course, we're going to try our best to explain on audio like we always do. But I'm going to be pulling up the official week 1 depth chart for TCU football. I just got to get my tab shared, and there we go. All right, here, I'll zoom in a little bit. There we go. That looks a lot better. You can see it, Anthony?
I can see it on the screen, yes.
All right, sweet. So I don't really know where to begin. I mean, I guess kind of off the bat, quarterbacks, like we already talked about, that's the big thing right there, is the big OR next to it,
Yeah, and we talked through it. I think a few things just jump out looking at this, and we've talked about how kind of releasing weights and heights from the athletic department, take it with a little bit of grain of salt. But man, this is a big squad. The receivers are big. Yeah. The linemen are big. We're talking about everybody's over 6'3", 300 pounds. The receivers all like 6 foot plus, 200 pounds, except for your slot receivers. So it this is a big scary team. It's
this
the
has
get
got to
off the
be
bus, frightening fear that you hope to put into Colorado stepping into Folsom Field on Friday.
this has got to be the biggest offensive line I think I've ever seen in TCU. The shortest is 6'3", 285. That's
It's nuts.
absurd. Yeah, that's like some Wisconsin, I don't know, like corn-fed, big beefy boys. Like, I'm excited for that. That's huge, and the depth on it too is just absurd. And yeah, like you said, the receivers just from top to bottom in every position, like every single one of these guys is capable of making a big play. Quentin Johnson, Blair Conright, Quincy Brown, all of them at the X slot. Beautiful. Love it. Tay Barber, Darius Davis, Gunnar Henderson now. Love it. Give me all of them. I want all of them to get catches on Friday. And I think they definitely can.
Oh, no doubt.
Yeah.
And we'll get into our discussion on the game here in a bit, but that's where I'm seeing the game going. But on the depth chart, so looking at the offensive line, the first thing that jumps out here is that Steve Avila, who has been the center for the Horned Frogs the past few seasons, he's been on Remington watch lists and all of that, getting high praise nationally. He has moved over from center and slid over to the left guard spot, um, leaving Alin Ali as the center, the SMU transfer. So he press conference this week, he spoke about it a little bit, just saying all of the guys on the offensive line are very versatile and able to play multiple positions. Said he's played right guard a bunch in his career, and he's been getting just tons of reps all through fall at left guard, and feels very comfortable with his spot there and comfortable with Ali's performance at center. So I don't know if that's we've kind of been hearing, and we'll talk about more of it in some other positions, but hearing about a lot of guys who have played a lot of football, maybe it would get fresh eyes with the new coaching staff and moving people around to doing different things or putting new folks up at the top of the depth chart. So it's one of the first things that pops out as kind of a major change from what maybe you would have expected to see.
Yeah, and I'm also a little bit surprised to see the or for the first string right guard. I thought it would kind of be Wes Harris off the bat.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's been the expectation for a while, is that he would kind of really grow into that spot as a no doubt starter, and not sure. And something just generally about this depth chart and depth charts that you'll see from around the country, it's not always how it's going to play. Just because you're listed as the starter doesn't mean you're getting the most snaps, all of that kind of thing. And some of these ors may be, injury question, maybe, sending a message. I don't know that we're going to get as much as that as we used to with the Gary Patterson depth charts. Were very cryptic in nature. So it's hard to tell. So we'll find out how it kind of shakes out. Let's see here. So,
I think offensive line, we've gone through receivers.
I guess just on receivers, before we finish scrolling down on the offense. Yes, it's Quentin Johnston as the starter at the X, with Blair Conright listed behind him. But like you said, Conright and Brown are both going to play a bunch and probably have a big impact on Friday and through the season. Same is the case at slot receiver, where Tay Barber, Darius Davis, and Gunnar Henderson are all three listed as co-starters. We've all heard through all of fall camp and seen that they will each get plenty of run from that spot, and would expect them to be big contributors in this offense. One really exciting surprise, maybe not a surprise, but Sevion Williams as the starter at the other wideout spot. I think we've all been really looking for the breakout from Sevion Williams, and I'm excited to see that he's earned this start and that he definitely will have an opportunity to have that breakout that we've kind of been waiting for. Big guy, 6'5", 215 is how he's listed on the depth chart here. And
He's got
so
speed
he's
and
going to
that
tower
size.
over folks. And I think as that complement to on the other side of QJ, it's going to be hard to stop if he really has developed into that other starter.
Yeah, exactly. Because he's a beautiful combination of size and speed. So I think he's going to have a pretty big year as well. But yeah, like you said, I think we're going to see a lot of wide receiver rotation this year. Pretty much every play, we might see 2 or 3 even different receivers than the last play. Just because why not keep fresh legs on the field if all these guys can go out there and make the plays? So
yeah, and that's actually something Coach Dyke spoke to specifically on. He wants everybody to give their 100, play this play with as if it's the only play you're going to play.
yeah,
So with the ability to know that somebody can step right in behind you and give you the breather, and we not take any kind of drop off. So that's something that definitely the team is looking for. And it kind of shows in the running back depth chart here. It was a surprise to see a 4-way co-starter, 3 oars. So you've got Kendre Miller
yeah.
or Amari DiMarcardo or Trent Battle or Amani Bailey as the starters. And
I don't know how I feel about this. Like, I get the or after Kendre Miller, but I think Kendre Miller kind of has to be the one.
yeah, this is Dyke's positioned it as it'll be a running back by committee, and we everybody gives a different kind of look to the defense and that kind of thing. I'm a little bit, and this is not like inside information. Maybe it's just speculation. Maybe I shouldn't even say it, but I feel like this is a little bit of somebody is a little nicked up. Somebody might have a little bit of an injury and won't be 100% here. I don't know if Kendre's at 100%. But because we've said it on this podcast before that we thought Kendre was a clear 1, and if anything, Amani Bailey would be that 1B, and then everybody else would be battling for the touches behind that. And so to see that it's more of a 4-way split, I still expect the actual carries to not be evenly split. And even, I bet Corey Wren might get some run as well. So we'll see, but it's a little bit concerning because I think as a runner, we would have expected Kendre to really be
Take
the number
over.
1 guy.
Yeah. I don't really know exactly what to think about it because it's also interesting too to see Trent Battle in the same mix as Bailey and DiMarcardo because that's the quarterback switchover. He was a quarterback recruit, 3-star, I believe, out of high school. He's like the number in the 20-something dual threat quarterback. So he can run, I guess. Maybe he's one of those Trayvon Boykin type players that can throw him a receiver, throw him a running back, and he's just an athlete. So that'll be interesting to watch too if he really gets a significant share of the carries. That'll be kind of unexpected, honestly. Like I wasn't really thinking about that going into the season, but now that it's there in the face, we'll see what happens on Friday. All right, so I guess that's pretty much it for offense. I mean, no really giant surprises stand out, but other than the fact that Carter Ware is going to have a 1,000-yard season this year, you heard it first. It's happening. This is a Carter Ware fan club, and all right. Anyway, though, on to the defense. So looking at the defensive line, kind of resonates with what we said about the offense and the receivers. The depth, man, it's beautiful. I mean, a decent amount of returners as well. Look, Dylan Horton, Colt Ellison, George Ellis, Terrell Cooper, Sony Misi, all these guys are returners. And then you got a couple transfers. I know I'm going to butcher this, but Wow Ugwak, the transfer from Connecticut. You got Tymon Mitchell, the transfer from Georgia, who's probably the biggest name that's come in. So, yeah, and a lot of there's a lot of freshmen on the depth chart as well. There's literally like I think 7 or 8 freshmen that are not on the depth chart, but on the official roster sheet. So this is a very deep unit, and even though we lost O'Shawn Mathis, we lost Kari Coleman, but they are great players. But look, O'Shawn Mathis finished the year with 4 sacks last year. That's really not that absurd.
Yeah. I don't know if O'Shawn Mathis knew that Nebraska was playing this week.
I didn't even.
They had a game.
I heard his name one time.
They were playing. I don't know. The whole team.
I was about to say Scott Frost still doesn't know they had a game. He's still thinking about that onside kick after they went up by 11.
Goodness. Yeah. I mean, I think the most interesting and notable thing from the defensive line part of this, first of all, the 3 down linemen officially on the depth chart.
So
that's a change, obviously, from our 4-2-5 that was always run in the past. But notably at nose tackle, Dominic Williams, the true freshman, earns the starting spot over senior Sonny Misi. I think through fall practice that shouldn't be a surprise, but probably going into the season would have expected Misi to be the starter. And obviously at nose tackle, you're going to get a lot of rotation, so they will both be playing a ton. But great to see Dominic Williams earn that spot and, expecting big things from him this season.
Yeah. And even the nose tackle defensive end, there's going to be a ton of rotation, especially I guess we haven't really seen it yet, in the 3-3-5, but I would expect there to be even more rotation probably than in what we're used to with the 4-2-5. But yeah, and going on to linebackers, D. Winters, love to see that. Jamoy Hodge, love to see that. Johnny Hodges, this is also, that seems to be the name of the game right now. It's just, we have a lot of depth this year. The Frogs have a lot of depth. Situation where, if somebody goes down, you're really not taking a big drop off from one guy to the next. Just looking at this depth chart, so definitely obviously going to be led by D. Winters for the most part, this unit, but I think this is going to be another solid year, especially, I don't know, how do you think it's going to work with, like Jamoy Hodge and Shadrach Banks, both in the middle slot?
Yeah. I think not surprised at all to see Hodge and Johnny Hodges as the starters, obviously D. Winters. And I think Banks will get some run. And maybe he's made big strides. We all remember the big play against Baylor, but he didn't play a whole lot.
It's nice to kind of.
So he's a name everyone knows because he was a big time recruit, and he was recruited as a wide receiver to Oklahoma, and then makes his way to TCU. So, but to see that he's made the 2 deep there seems to be positive signs. I think the other thing from linebacker is, and really for across this depth chart is we don't. Oh goodness, I just lost his name. The linebacker from LSU, the 5-star guy, Marcel Brooks.
Yes,
is not listed on the. Is not listed on the depth chart and seems to be an injury concern, but it appears to be that he will not be playing in this first game. So that's unfortunate because it looked like he was ready to be a big contributor.
Yeah, and I'm really excited to see. I want to see him so bad, just ever since he's come from LSU. Like, he's been playing, but just never really had like a full opportunity kind of. So I'd love to see that. But with or without, I think this is a very solid linebacker core going into week 1. And going on now to the secondary, I don't think there's really many surprises here.
I'd say there's 2 big things to talk about here. First is at the cornerback, at one cornerback spot is Josh Newton.
That's what I was going to say.
The transfer from Monroe, Louisiana Monroe,
over Daniels.
gets put as the starter over Noah Daniels. And there were pretty good whispers that this was going to happen. And again, I don't know if it's a little bit of injury, something with Noah Daniels that seems to always be the case. but I think Newton just beat him out and really impressed the coaching staff and earned that spot. I keep saying earn that spot, but I think that's what we're seeing here is through camp with the new coaching staff. All of these guys had to kind of interview for their jobs again, and Newton coming in as a transfer from Monroe to take that spot is big, and he's going to have to be a big contributor. And the or next to Noah Daniels, so it's Newton 1, and then Daniels or Ish Burdine as the 2 at that cornerback slot. And Ish got a lot of praise, and from the receiving group, I think Tay Barber kind of said he was one of the toughest guys to go against on the team. So that's high praise in a cornerback room and defensive backfield that includes so much talent. I think the other thing of note here is at the other cornerback spot.
I was just about to say the or after the Tomlinson.
THT, Travius Hodges Tomlinson is listed as an or with Keon Stewart on the depth chart. And this, I have to think that this is a injury question. He's had, I don't know if it's wrist or hand or something like that. He's had a little bit of a knock, and Dykes reassured everybody that he was good to go. He's good to play, but still listed on this depth chart with an or at the starting cornerback spot for a guy who's a 2-time first team All Big 12, preseason All Big 12, expected to be one of the top defensive backs in the country. Maybe it says big, great things about Keon Stewart. Maybe it's an injury thing, but it's curious to see.
Well, I think Stewart is certainly going to play this season. He's going to get a fair share of his minutes. Because coming into the year, I expected the 5 members of the secondary, well, even aside from rotation, obviously, like the starters, to be THT, Hodges Tomlinson, Keon Stewart, Noah Daniels, Bud Clark, and Nook, who is now Millard Bradford. And those were kind of the guys. And, Josh Newton coming in. Now I'm very excited to see how he's going to play, earning that starting spot over Noah Daniels, who even had like a lot of, PFF hype and everything, Pro Football Focus hype coming into last season even. But yeah, Daniels, there's a little I don't even know what goes on. It was kind of just a big question mark all last season, the stuff that was going on.
It hung over all last season, and it seems to be continuing into this season as well. So
so
we'll see. And I think the other cool thing on this depth chart is that Mark Perry gets a start at safety. He's a Colorado transfer, so he gets to start game 1 against his former team. So, hopefully, he knows all the plays and he's going to be able to.
Oh yeah, he's like a double agent basically. He's not going to change up
sleeper
anything.
Agent, and so I think it's they've already been the TCU athletic department has already been including him as like on the poster art and like the game art and all of that stuff. He's the promo face for this game, so that's kind of exciting for him to go back into his former home stadium and as a starter for the TCU defense.
Yeah, I wonder how that's got to feel. I don't know how what would be going through my mind during that. Because it's always like it's different with college. I feel like than it is NFL. Like a player gets traded and plays his former team. Like it's a business, but
it's business, right?
But like college is, a little more heart and soul goes into it. So yeah, that'll be fun for him. And special teams, not really much to say there. Griffin Kell, starter again. Jordy Sandy, starter again. Unless you really have any big eye-popping things like Darius Davis as a return man, pretty expected.
Yeah, I like. I think it's fun seeing Shadrack Banks as the 4th guy on the kick return list. I've just tried to. He's listed at 250. I can't imagine sprinting down the field, 70 yards and trying to tackle a guy that's 250 sprinting back at you. Like, man, that sounds frightening. So, if he's if he gets like a head of steam, look out.
Yeah, I would not want to tackle that for sure. All righty, and that wraps up the depth chart, I believe. Yeah, and then we got of course, the just career start stats over here with Duggan leading the way, followed by Tate Barber. And all righty, I'm gonna again do some technology here. Beep boop beep bop. There we go. Screen's gone. All right, now that brings us to our predictions for this weekend's game, or not this weekend, Friday's game. Primetime game, baby. America's going to be watching.
I mean, it's prime time for you. It's late night for us back here in God's time here in Central Time Zone, man. 9:00 p.m. ESPN.
Yeah, you're right. I know all the students at TCU are loving it though. Like,
oh yeah, no, it's gonna be exciting. But yeah, I'm gonna have to pour cups of coffee. I'm gonna have to have I'm gonna put a full pot on.
I remember the game. I think our last 9 p.m. game. I think it was like a Thursday when we played Purdue. I think it was on like a Thursday or Friday, but it was a night game. And I remember because I was pledging during that.
Oh boy.
And we went to a bar and I just remember singing we just had to get in a line. And every time we scored, riff, ramp, bazoo. And we had to do it in front of like the whole bar. It was pretty fun. It was a great time. Yeah. But all right. So yeah, obscure time, but I like it because America's going to be watching. It'll be a little bit more of a test rather than just the normal 11 a.m. games, which are now 9 a.m. I'm gonna be waking up at 9 a.m. man for these games. That's brutal.
You gotta build a tailgate time too. You gotta prep for those games. You gotta start at like 6 a.m.
Yeah, 6 or 7 with like maybe some Baileys in my coffee or some mimosa. But all right. So just kind of more in depth. I don't remember the exact score. I think I had it at like 27-14. Something pretty low scoring, but I do have TCU winning on Friday by a couple of possessions. I think for some reason, I don't really have a great in-depth analysis explanation as to why. I just think it's going to be a relatively low-scoring game, get our feet underneath our offense. I think our defense is going to play really well against a not-so-illustrious Colorado offense. And I think Kendre Miller, barring any injury concerns based on the oars on the depth chart, I think he's going to have a feast, but now it makes me a little bit more nervous seeing all those oars next to his name,
Yeah. I mean, I think you might be onto something with like a slow start here because I could definitely see some nerves from the players, nerves from the coaching staff. It's everybody's first game, right? So I mean, it's who knows, and going into a tough place to play on the road, it'll be a big moment that it may take a few possessions to really get things rolling. I think especially defensively, where you hope that you don't give up stuff,
big plays
early.
Yeah,
kind of
that's what killed us.
Kind of hold the dam a little bit, so that you don't let them break through early, and then once you've got your legs, then things will settle in. But you don't want to dig into too deep a hole too early, I think.
Yeah, I think the first quarter is going to be. I mean, obviously, it goes without saying that the first quarter is important, but it's going to be really important.
It's especially important.
You're facing a 7-0 deficit after 15 minutes. It's kind of like your whole game plan changes. It's more like, okay, guys, we got to win this. Like, this is our first game. We can't start out like this. So it'll be huge. Odds for the game, though, Vegas has it at TCU. We said last time it was 10.5. It has since moved.
This is crazy, dude. I don't know, 3-4 weeks ago when we looked at it, it was like, oh, it's 7.5. TCU's going to cover that crazy easy.
Yeah, oh, let's go. Yeah.
Don't even worry about it. Then, like a couple weeks later, it's gotten up to 10.5. There's been a lot of movement, a lot of money on TCU. How about that? That's pretty cool. 10.5. Now at DraftKings, it's at 14.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Just moved from 13.5. Yeah.
So we're talking about a 2-touchdown favorite on the road to open the season with a new coaching staff, an unknown quarterback.
Vegas knows something though, man.
That's heavy. That's a lot. And yeah, obviously the number keeps going up. So somebody keeps putting a lot of money on TCU.
I think just people keep pouring money on the Frogs.
And I don't know. At 14, I'm nervous. I've been like, oh, it's going to be 2 touchdowns for sure, 2 touchdowns. But
once it's like actually at the number, it's like, oh, that's tough.
2 touchdowns.
That's a big point spread. Yeah. And then the over under is honestly pretty decently or relatively high. It's at 55.5. So kind of expected.
Nah, forget it. TCU's scoring at least 56. So go ahead and take your over.
TCU's breaking it
56-0. It's easy. No, I've got this is not like analytical thing. My gut here says TCU either wins by 24 points or loses by 3.
Yeah, I can see that too.
That's what I see happening here.
Idea. Boom or bust.
Because TCU, I think, is clearly a more talented team. And this, I'm not trying to like. I think TCU could lose this game. I think it's it's in the realm of possibility.
Boulder's going to be rocking on Friday.
It's gonna be an exciting game. But TCU is more talented than Colorado right now. And if they play well, it should be 24 points. Win this game, walking away and have a nice flight back. But
even if they play mediocre, they should win.
Yeah. But if they don't gel and things start spiraling, TCU can lose this game. I think it would be a close loss. I don't think TCU gets blown out. I think that happening, yeah. I also don't really see TCU winning a close game. I think it's either going to be TCU's romping or
kind of a what's going on type game.
Yeah.
I can get behind that. There's going to be probably no gray area, just black or white, one of the two.
So
and hopefully it's that 24 points.
Yeah, my official position from Frogs of War continues to be TCU's going to win big, and mostly it's going to be the passing game that makes it happen on offense. The Colorado defense is super inexperienced, a lot of freshmen, and I don't think particularly excellent freshmen. I think that they've got talent back there, and it's Power 5 talent. But you look at this depth chart of receiver and running back talent from TCU, and it's scary good. I think
it is.
And I can see QJ going off and being a superstar. I can see 3-4 other guys. I mean, I could see Barber, Davis, Henderson each having like 4 for 45 and a touchdown. Yeah. I could, I think there is a more experience for Colorado up front on defense and offense. So that's where if they can get pressure on whoever is quarterback for TCU, then I'm worried. Because I don't know how well that's going to go for Max or for Chandler,
or for Sam.
I don't know. I think it could go fine for Sam. I think
he's
going to outrun whatever's coming his way. Maybe that's why you go ahead and roll with him. But so that's the path to losing, is that front from that defensive front gets to the quarterback and doesn't allow those receivers to get loose. But I think the receivers go nuts here and have a field day. That's my official stance from Frogs of War.
Especially, week 1, I want to see all the receivers get involved, spread the love, And I bet, especially with 3 different quarterbacks playing,
everybody's got their eyes on somebody, right?
Yeah, they all have a different relationship with each receiver. So yeah, I'm sure they'll probably be looking different ways than one another. So, all right. Yeah. This also, just speaking of the Colorado matchup, I really like overall just the fact that we're opening on the road against a Power 5 team that we should beat. It's not like we're going to Death Valley to play Clemson or something, so I really like this. It's good for our non-conference schedule. It's not a cupcake game like, most teams are starting out with, as we'll see in the Big 12. So yeah, I'm just kind of happy to see that we're doing this. It's a nice little test, to start the year.
Yeah, I mean, it does appear that Vegas thinks this might be a cupcake game.
Oh, I know. It's scaring me. I'm staying away from it.
I don't like it. It's making me nervous.
I can never pick anything on. I stay away from bias on TCU games because I can't. I'm always going to think the Frogs are going to do it. But all right, so around the Big 12 elsewhere, we got a few decent games, and then the rest are mostly
yeah. There's only 4 other games that are against FBS teams, and only one of those is against another Power 5 team. So
yeah,
there's only one real other game in the Big 12 this week,
and I think it's going to be a great game.
Oh man, I'm super excited for it. It's one of the first games to open the season. So yeah, the backyard brawl is back. West Virginia goes to Pitt. You've got the former USC quarterbacks are now transfers on other sides. Keaton Slovis, who took JT Daniels' job at USC, is the Pitt quarterback, and JT Daniels is the West Virginia quarterback.
Yeah,
so bad blood up
so
and down. Fan bases probably don't like each other. The players don't like each other. So it's exciting to get this rivalry game straight off from the first game of the season.
Yeah, and this just shows how crazy the quarterback transfer portal is. It's almost too much to keep up with. Like, because my buddy was saying he was like picking Pitt to win the ACC, and I'm like, dude, that's not a good pick. They just lost, Kenny Pickett, but he was like, no, they got Slovis, and I'm like, yeah. But I was like, oh, I kind of forgot Slovis is there, even though Slovis has not lived up to expectations once in his collegiate career yet. But who knows? Maybe this will be the year. But no, I think that'll be a really good game. Pitt is favored by 7.5 points. Although, I mean, are we going to make picks on these? Do we want to make picks?
The others of these, I don't know. Who really cares, honestly?
Yeah, you're right.
Are they going to win by 38 or 37? I don't know, whatever. But in this game, yeah, sure. I mean, I'd go with West Virginia. I'm like all in on the Mountaineers. I don't know. I just kind of like they're not getting a lot of love. I think there's a lot of people down on them for the season, and that they lost a bunch of transfers, and all of that is true. But if JT Daniels lost his job to Keaton Slovis, and then lost his job to Stetson Bennett, and he's not really that good. But I don't think we really even know whether he's good or not. Yeah. And I think he could come out in this game, and they have really good receivers.
Yeah, he's definitely more set up in this offense to thrive than he would have in like the Georgia offense. Yeah,
for sure. So I think 7.5 is too many, and I think West Virginia can definitely win that game.
I agree. Yeah, I think that's going to be I think it's going to end up being kind of one of the better games to watch this weekend, just in terms of back and forth, really close. I'm excited for that one. And yeah, so elsewhere, like you said, it's who's going to win by 38 or 35. It's big programs against not so big programs. And that's Oklahoma State against Central Michigan. And they are 21.5-point favorites at home. No surprise there. I wouldn't even be surprised if they covered that. Another one, Oklahoma, 31.5-point favorites against UTEP. I don't want to say
UTEP lost to North Texas at home in week 1 or in week 0.
Yeah.
And now they have to go to Norman.
That's brutal.
Again, I think Oklahoma could cover that. I mean, they could probably win this like 45-6.
Yeah. I could see like 70 to.
Yeah.
No, honestly, probably not that bad. Honestly, UTEP really isn't.
They'd slow down. They take everybody out. Just kneel it out.
Yeah. And last but not least, our good friends over in Austin, Texas, 37.5-point favorites at home against Louisiana Monroe. And I am definitely going to be taking Louisiana Monroe to cover the spread of that.
37.5. Get out of here.
That's what I'm saying. Like, that's too much. I mean, if Oklahoma State's only 21.5 against Central Michigan, then
to be fair, Louisiana Monroe is much worse than Central Michigan.
Yeah, they have not done much of anything. All right, and we don't really need to talk about
everybody else plays FCS games. Yeah. So, we'll talk about the TCU FCS game next week, but for now we'll take the moral high ground and say none of these cupcakes get out of here with your cupcakes.
Yeah, because we're the big dogs that waited till week 2 to play a cupcake, like a respectable program does. All right, and non-Big 12 games of the week outside of the conference, there are a decent amount of top 25 games, and even outside of the rankings, just good matchups in general. And probably the biggest one is Oregon at Georgia, and that's in Atlanta, Mercedes-Benz Stadium, and Georgia is a 17-point favorite, which is just absurd for a top 5 matchup. Just absurd. Well, not top 5, but what is Oregon? I think 11.
Yeah, they're hovering around there. I mean, it's the kind of thing of like, you would think it should be like a big playoff implications kind of game. Like, oh, these are national brands, they could be fighting. But the consensus seems to be that Georgia's just a whole lot better than Oregon, which is,
and I think
fair
they are,
because they're a whole lot better than everyone.
Yeah, I think they are. It's just 17 against Oregon, game 1. Like, I don't know. That's a lot of points.
I don't know how they do against Bo Nix every other time they've played them. Probably fine.
Yeah.
So,
wait, that's true, I guess. Yeah, I got to see these quarterbacks, man. They're throwing me off. Like, I got to think about this.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm very high on Oregon this season, so I don't know what the money line is, but it's got at plus 17, it's got to be like plus 300 or something.
Oh, it's got to be more than that. It's got to be like plus 550, plus 600.
Yeah, I think I'd like to pick Oregon to win. If I'm in like a little pick 'em pool, I wouldn't, because it's almost certainly a loss and everybody else is going to take a game on you. But I don't know. I'm kind of hoping for a little bit of an upset there. And Georgia, they already won their national championship. They're kind of riding high.
I would love to see it. Yeah, I would love to see an upset, because I think that'll also make the Pac-12 race a lot more interesting. And the
playoff race.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a season-long national implication where if Georgia wins, it's just, okay, well, all right, well, they're in the playoff. Let's fast forward to the end of the season.
Yeah, I love watching these kind of games, though, as a fan, because like you said, it is season-long implications. So it's like almost nice not having that stress of being a part of it. Like if that was my team, if that was TCU in there, I'd be sweating all game. I would be sweating, but watching them battle it out, it's great. Just grab the popcorn, like watch it happen. So another huge one, and this one is a top 5 matchup with Notre Dame and Ohio State, and that's being played in Columbus at the Horseshoe. And again, Ohio State are 17-point favorites, which I would say is ridiculous for a top 5 matchup, but Notre Dame loses every big game. Like, it's just true. They do. They lose.
Yeah.
Like, I saw a graphic, and I think their record is like 2
and they lose
29.
bad. When they play those good teams, they get smashed.
They're like 2-29 or something in the past. I don't even know. I don't want to quote the stat because I don't know it for sure, but it was bad. They lose a lot of games against ranked opponents in recent history. So I wouldn't be too surprised if Ohio State covered it, if I'm being honest. 17-point win.
I'm agreeing with you. Absolutely. I would take Ohio State. I wish it was Oregon State. Ohio State in that one. They're covering 17 at home. I mean, this was the kind of thing, though, last season, it was Oregon playing at the Horseshoe, beating Ohio State to open the season. And it was a huge shock. And so stranger things have happened, but
I don't think Ohio State's taking it. Yeah, I don't think Notre Dame's the team to do it. So it's kind of a bummer, It's like, oh, yay, we get a top 5 matchup week 1. Oh, it's Notre Dame. Like, okay.
Right.
All right. And then kind of going down the rankings a little bit, and I think this is 19 against 23. Cincinnati is traveling to Arkansas to take on the Razorbacks, and Arkansas are 6.5-point favorites in that one, which I think is going to be really interesting to see kind of how both teams adjust. Like Arkansas, they lost a couple key guys like Treylon Burks. Cincinnati lost a couple of key guys like Sauce Gardner, Desmond Ridder. So it'll be interesting to see, especially how Cincinnati kind of transitions from, Ritter was a huge part of what they were doing the past few years. So I'm curious to see. I like Cincinnati in this one, though, to cover. Not to win, but I like them to cover.
Yeah, see.
It's tough, though.
I don't think so. I'm going Arkansas. I'll take the other side of you on this one. But
I can see it.
One thing, Cincinnati did the same or starting quarterback thing. So they have not officially named a successor to Ritter. Which was a little disappointing. I thought Evan Prater was just going to take that job and be obviously the guy. So that's unfortunate. And it's at Arkansas.
That's the thing that scares me. That's a tough place to play.
It's not the same as Cincinnati playing Notre Dame last season and I don't know, Indiana or whatever that their big games were. I think this is Arkansas might be, and I guess it's hard to say they're getting slept on because they're like a top 25 team and they are getting lots of love and they're favored in this game. But I think Arkansas wins by a touchdown at least. And yes, they lost Traylon Burks, but they brought in Jadon Haselwood from Oklahoma, 5-star recruit. He was the top wide receiver in the country in 2019, something like that. So I don't know. I think they're primed, and their offense is going to be exciting. We don't have to mention who their offensive coordinator is because it rhymes with smiles. Anyway, but their offense is going to be good, and Rocket Sanders at running back and KJ Jefferson and all that. So I like their squad, and I think they win that game and cover that spread.
Yeah, honestly, this is kind of one that I'm going to stay away from. But
it's too dangerous. There's too many unknowns.
Yeah, and I think you're right though that they could. I could see it going either way. I just kind of I like Cincinnati, so I want to side with Cincinnati a little bit more. I hope they can bounce back and be kind of the group of 5 champion that everybody needs them to be.
It's not the Cincinnati though that has Joe Burrow, so it's not your Cincinnati.
Yeah, I know, but all right. Oh yeah, I guess I didn't even realize I'm wearing this today, but. All right, another big game is not a top 25 matchup, but it's pretty darn close to being one, and that's Utah traveling to the Swamp to take on Florida. And Utah is surprisingly, as the number 7 team in the country, only 2.5-point favorites in the Swamp this weekend. And as we talked about on our Pac-12 predictions, I'm high on Utah. I'm high on the Utes this year. I took their over 9 wins. I took them to win the Pac-12. I take them to go to the playoffs. And to get to the playoffs, you can't lose in the Swamp week 1. They're winning this game. 2.5 points? Come on. That's not a lot of points. I can't believe it's that low.
See, I can't decide what this line is telling us.
No, because it might be a trap.
This line is very tricky. Is it a trap?
Yeah.
For really, really, really square people who are like, that's a game at Florida, the Swamp. They obviously should be favored over some terrible Pac-12 team. Who cares? Or is it a trap against people who are fake smart like me? I don't know what I'm talking about, but I know Utah's good. They should.
Yeah, say more. That's why I'm like.
So who are we trapping? Either way, Vegas wins. But I don't know. Maybe I'm way too SEC. Oh no, I picked Oregon to beat Georgia, so I can't be accused of any SEC over bias here. So I think Florida beats Utah in the Swamp. I think they cover the 2.5, and not only that, they win this game. Utah had a fun, cute season. They went to the Rose Bowl and did not win. And
almost did.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, whatever. Look, I'm from an era where you hate Utah. I don't like Utah. I don't want Utah to win.
I grew up watching those games. I went to college game day with a poster.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. I was one of those little kids just trying to get up to the fence.
All I'm saying is I want the Utes to lose this game and every other game that they play generally. So give me Anthony Richardson to stomp on the Utes.
See, look, I agree in the sense that it's not like I'm a Utah guy, but if we're talking about betting, sports betting angles, entertainment purposes only, of course. I like to put my brain. I like to separate my brain and my heart. And maybe that's the wrong decision. Maybe it's the wrong decision because you're right though. This does kind of scare me. The fact that it's because I saw that when I first looked at it, that just jumped off the screen. Like 2.5 points against an unranked Florida team. Like you said though, I don't know which side to be scared of. Like, oh, did they do this because it's a swamp, or did they do this because people would know? Like they knew people would bet on Utah. Like,
are they baiting? Which way are they like drawing you? And
yeah, they're scheming something.
It just means it's a good line. Yeah, they're too good at their jobs.
Yeah, and I think another really good line is this is an unranked game, and that's Penn State at Purdue, and that has the Nittany Lions favored by 3.5 points. And I actually have Purdue as a little sleeper in the Big Ten. I don't know. I've been feeling it lately, so I think I'm going to go with Purdue plus 3.5 at home.
Sleeper in the Big Ten saying too much.
Well, not to.
Okay, well, are they in the West Division? Are they in the other division? I don't know the division.
Yeah, they're not Ohio State.
Okay, division. So if they're in the other division, I think sure they.
I bet on them
maybe
to win
they make
division.
it to. Okay, fair enough then. That's fair. I think I'm with you though. I like Purdue a lot in this game. I think this is another home underdog that everybody's excited that Sean Clifford's back for Penn State. That's what we're excited about.
Yeah,
that's why we're high on Penn State. I don't know about that.
I think this is a trap line for Penn State because a lot of people are like, "Oh, Penn State, big program, like 3.5 points."
Purdue, they're terrible.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I can see this being a trap.
I don't know. I'm with you though. I like Purdue in this game.
All right, and then last but not least of kind of the big games outside of the Big 12 is Florida State against LSU, and that's in New Orleans. And kind of surprising, Florida State are only 3-point underdogs. And they played Duquesne in week 1.
Yeah.
What is that going to tell you? Not much. So I don't know what to think about this.
Yeah, I mean, TCU played Duquesne in early in the season last year, and then went out and lost to SMU right after. Yeah. So beating Duquesne is no indication of being a good football team.
Yeah. Safe to say.
Yeah, this one is tricky too. This is a great game. Is this Sunday night or Monday night? It's one of those, like, because it's Labor Day weekend, they have games all through the weekend. So, and before NFL starts. This is one of those standalone games where the whole country is going to be watching, and it could be one of those where either the whole country is making fun of Brian Kelly and his dumb Louisiana fake accent and
and dancing with 360 cameras.
The 360 cam and all of that. Or they're making fun of Florida State for just crapping the bed again and again. And, so this will be a very much, I think Twitter will be ablaze, whatever's going on in this game. And I just don't know how LSU loses or wins by less than 3 points in New Orleans in this game. I don't know that Florida State is all that good. I think Jordan Travis as quarterback is kind of interesting. I think he's a good player, but LSU is just they're stacked with talent, even if it's not like to 2019 levels. And even if the quarterback room is kind of weird, and I don't know that I ever will trust Brian Kelly as a coach.
Yeah.
All of that said, I still can't go against the Tigers in the state of Louisiana. I just can't.
Yeah, I think I got to lean towards LSU. And I don't want to compare FSU to Texas, but when they haven't been back, man. They haven't been back. Like you said, they just,
you're right. You definitely can't compare FSU to Texas. Florida State won a national championship recently.
Yeah, yeah, there we go. I like it. But yeah, I think they got to get some major adjustment. I don't know if Norvell is the guy. I think they got to bring in somebody that can build a program from the ground up because they're almost at that point. But yeah, I think I lean LSU, although that is definitely the square pick, which scares me. But sometimes it's the right pick, So that'll be a good game. I can't express enough just how exciting it is that college football is finally here. It is best time of the year for all us sports junkies out there. So I know both of us, I'm sure Anthony, I can speak for you when I say we're going to be glued, our eyes glued to the TV from kickoff till the last whistle on Saturday.
No doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Alrighty, though, that is going to be it for this week's episode. We're going to be back with another one with a week 1 reaction after the Colorado game and kind of looking ahead to the rest of SMU, I guess, or not SMU, Tarleton State in week 2. So, yeah, if you guys stayed the whole time, appreciate you listening, and we will be back next time out. Go Frogs.
Go Frogs.